Hello and welcome back, Brawlers, to another Bakugan Pro deck list. I'm BakuBrad96, and in this video I'll be taking a look at a fusion deck that I rebuilt. Hopefully it's a little stronger, a little better, and with the release of Nanogon, that much stronger. But without further ado, I'm not going to talk a whole lot in this video. It's been a while, I have a ton of content to record, that way next week is full. So I'm going to jump right into it, starting off with the team. Now for the Pyrus Bakugan I am using, it is going to be Cindius and Scorpius. The Haos Bakugan, Kloptora and Apollyon. And then even though it's not a fusion, just a really good Bakugan for its Evo in the deck, I am using Eenoch, just like last time when I made this fusion deck the first time. Again, this is kind of a revamp or just a relook into the deck. Now it's time for some stats because I'm not using any Geogon in this deck. I'm just focusing on fusion. So Cindius and Scorpius is an orange and Helix core, orange shield, B power of 300 with 4 damage, and it only takes 2 energy to fuse. Once fused, 700 B power and 7 damage. Not the strongest, the damage is good. The Helix Baku core certainly helps the team. So I am trying this Bakugan out. Last time I did use the Dragonoid X Treacherous, that was Pyrus and Darkus. But I wanted to try something new and use different Baku core. So that's why I picked the weaker Bakugan, obviously. Same for Kloptora and Apollyon. Last time I built the deck, it was the Haos Pegatrix X Gillator. But yeah, this time around I'm just trying something different. So Kloptora and Apollyon have a red fist and a green fist core, B power of 600 with 2 damage, and then 6 energy to fuse this Bakugan. Once fused, a little better than the Cindius Scorpius, 1200 B power and 6 damage. So not bad at all. It does require a bit of a heavy cost to energize, or not energize, but to fuse. And unfortunately, there's no ways to really play around that. I think this deck runs like 1 Song of Fire, so you could potentially get it off a little sooner, but not that much, like turn 4, I believe. And then there's Eenoch Ultra himself, so a magic shield or blue shield, however you want to say it, and a green fist core, B power of 700 with 4 damage. And of course he doesn't fuse, he's just a Bakugan Ultra. Just throw Kloptora and Apollyon over there. There we go. Now then the core lineup, I mean, I guess it's kind of weird because I'm using fusion core, but 1 green fist plus 150 B power and 2 damage. 1 green fist that if the Bakugan is fusion, it gets plus 5 damage. Or if the Bakugan's fused, it gets plus 5 damage. A red fist that if the Bakugan is fused, plus 8 damage. The generic plus 650 B power blue shield because it's the best. For the Helix, plus 300 B power and plus 3 damage because I didn't want to give up any damage. And then lastly, the orange shield, if it's a fusion Bakugan, plus 500 B power, simply because I didn't want to use the plus 300 generic shield again and again and again. This was a way to use something new. And hey, I actually have fusion Bakugan on the team, so it might work out. Now I'm going to slide those up. There we go, perfect. Now it's time to get straight into the deck list. Starting off, I am running 2 Mega Pyrus, 0 energy for plus 2 damage, and then if you play it on a fused Bakugan, it's plus 5 damage instead, so just a really cool 0 drop that helps with your damage count. It's me, so you already all know that I'm going to have 3 Body Crusher just because favorite card from Geogon Rising, I can't say that enough. 1 energy for minus 4 damage, and you get to scan. If you don't know what scan is, Google it. 3 Crushing Shadows, 1 energy for plus 200 B power, and 1 Frost Strike. The Frost Strike's not really going to come up, but 1 for 2, I thought that might. And again, I do have kind of weaker Bakugan, so once fused, the low B power could help potentially add up. Then I am using 1 Cycling Light, 1 energy for plus 200 B power, and then you return it to the bottom of the deck. So again, a low drop card that I could just recycle. I never have to worry about it going into the discard pile necessarily. Unless it's flipped, and then, well, that stinks. The first hero of the deck, which I don't have many, but the first one is Malheim, or Havoc, however you want to look at it. 1 energy for when you fuse a Bakugan, give a Bakugan plus 200 B power and plus 2 damage. Now, this is really cool because it's such a low-cost hero. You could potentially play it before you get any of your fusions off. In fact, I might recommend rolling Eenoch first. That way it gives you a chance to actually draw into Malheim Havoc so you can fuse under him and get that off. Otherwise, just use him as energy because more likely than not, you're not going to draw into him at the right time. 2 Sifting Ashes. I mean, it helps with draw power, I guess, but 1 energy and you get to draw 2 and then discard 2. I really hate that you have to discard after the draw, but it's okay. At least drawing into the deck, hopefully you can hit an Evo card or any card you really need. Moving on now into the 2 energy cost cards. It is Flash Attack, so like I said, 2 energy for plus 5 damage. Another favorite of mine being Hot Potato, so I have 2 of these. For 2 energy, you remove an enemy Bakugan's Bakucore, negate its effect, return the Bakucore onto the field face down. Really solid card, really great. Honestly, if I had a 3rd copy, I would run it at 3. No questions asked. Shadow Slicer, again, another just favorite card of mine for Darkus. 2 energy for plus 400 B power, and then you get to scan. So, lots of scanning going on. Not that this deck uses that per se, but at least you know what you're going to draw into, and that's cool. 2 Burn Cutter, 3 energy for a Bakugear with an armor rating of 1. So that's useful for soaking up damage. Other than that, it's going to give a Bakugan 100 B power and 5 damage. Now, I really like 5 damage. That is a big chunk that can stick around on your Bakugan as long as your Bakugear is equipped. Yeah, just really solid. Next up, 3 Energy Funnel. A shout out for Fusions for helping me out with the ruling on this card. So 3 energy for 600 B power, but if you play it on a Fusion Bakugan, you may reroll it instead. So really interesting, it kind of doubles up. Either you're going to get a big chunk of B power, or if it's on a Fused Bakugan, you get to reroll it, potentially pick up some cores you need for the Nanogon combos. Just really solid card, very versatile. Energy Vortex, just to start popping things off, getting those green fists where I want them. 3 energy for a Bakugear that, when you play it, attach a green fist from the field to an open Bakugan. Otherwise, you're getting 300 B power added on and 0 damage. So it kind of just helps throw the green fist where I want them. This one on Eenoch potentially, or this one on one of my fused Bakugan already, just to get out some more damage. Then it is a 1-up Flames of Ambition, 3 energy for plus 3 damage, or plus 3 damage for each fused Bakugan on your team, or fusion Bakugan on your team. With 2, I thought 3 for 6, that would be the plan there. I am running one more hero after the Havoc Malheim, and that is Lord Bracken. 3 energy for a hero that when you fuse a Bakugan, you get to draw 2. This could really hurt. More times than not, play this as energy. But otherwise, if you feel like you want to play it, if you're in a good position, you haven't taken too much damage, you have enough deck left to draw, yeah, definitely get him out, before you fuse the Bakugan. Pretty cool. And there's the previously mentioned Song of Fire, 3 energy, that gives us 5 energy for the turn. It's kind of just a turbo ramp card. It helps get us into cards that are 5 drops, which I will get into. These are all 5 drops, so they're all targets for Song of Fire. Starting with another favorite of mine, Glorious Charge. 5 energy for plus 900 B power, and 9 damage. So glad this deck uses Haos and Darkus so that I could use this card. I wish I had 3 of it. It's Evo time. So yeah, I do have 2 of the Maximus Eenoch Ultra. This did come in the Armored Alliance Fusion Force starter deck. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was the one with Eenoch, and it came with it. So really cool. I think you only get 1, but I bought 2 because one was a misprint with a Ventus Serpilius, or not Serpilius. It had a Ventus Serpentis Ultra in it. It was mispackaged. So I bought the extra one thinking it would just be cool. But it came with the character cards that it was supposed to, so I ended up getting a Serpentis that wasn't playable. Plus side is more cards. So anyway, Maximus Eenoch Ultra, 5 energy for a B power of 1400 and 5 damage, but this Bakugan gets plus 10 damage if you have a fusion on your team, and obviously 2 fusions, so you're going to get that 10. So this really reads in this deck a B power of 1400 and 15 damage. So obviously that's why I run it. Really cool. Getting this thing off on turn 3 would just be epic. So sometimes, I guess in some instances, depending on your hand that you've drawn, you'd want to roll Eenoch last because, you know, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, drop Song of Fire, evolve Eenoch, roll him out, and you're getting 1415 right there on turn 3. Just a really cool card, you know, combo with Song of Fire. I really like Song of Fire. I use it all the time. You all know that. But moving on, because this is the deck profile. Rainbow Sparkle Cannon of Doom. I can't say this enough. I'm so glad that Spin Master trademarked that. Hold on, I'll zoom in and move the camera. But there, TM. Yeah, there we go. Trademarked. Rainbow Sparkle Cannon of Doom. Awesome Baku Gear card. One of my favorite, quite honestly. Let me zoom back in. There we go. So moving on, it is a Baku Gear card. Just said that. With an armor rating of 1. Otherwise, the Bakugan it's equipped to 400 B power and 4 damage. All of this for 5 energy. So it is kind of a higher dropped card, but other than that, it's just a lot of fun to play. And again, getting it off on a Song of Fire on turn 3 could make a difference in the deck in the game. It honestly could. And then lastly, before the flip cards, 1 Reality Ripper, 5 energy for plus 10 damage, so big chunk. And then choose a player to discard a card for each Fusion Bakugan on your team, or Fusion Bakugan on your team. So that would be 2. You know, just a slight hand disruption there, but really playing it for the damage because that is just a big chunk to gain for only 5. Now then, wrapping up the main deck, it is the flip cards. Excuse me. 1 Darkest Snare, 0 energy to block a Bakugan holding a Magic Shield. Dazzle, 0 energy to block a Bakugan holding a Helix. Confuse, 1 energy to block a Bakugan holding a Flame, Fist, or Magic Shield, Blue Shield. Constrictor, 1 energy and it blocks a Bakugan holding a Green Fist or a Helix. And then finally, even though I just dropped it, Sonic Shield. So 1 energy to block a Bakugan holding a Green Fist or a Flaming Fist. Now that does it for the main deck. Isn't that a lovely pile right there? But I'm not done yet. One more thing to go over, and that is, of course, the Nanogon that the deck uses. So starting off with Pyrus Nano Widow. A pretty just normal, straightforward Geogon, or Nanogon, sorry. It doesn't do anything but give you B power. So on a Green Fist, you can get plus 300 B power, but on a Flame Fist and Green Fist, plus 500 B power. So again, I am using weaker Bakugan, so having the B power boost could potentially help. If 1 Baby WebM wasn't enough, I am using 2, so I do have the Darkest Nano Widow as well. On a Orange Shield, plus 400 B power. And then this next output, or ability, I don't expect to get off, but on an Orange Shield, Helix, and Green Fist, plus 1000 B power. So I thought that was really cool. Again, just trying to help with the B power since the Bakugan are a bit weaker, and power creep is a very real thing. Lastly, probably the best Nanogon of this deck, and honestly one of my favorite, is Haos Nano Siphon, just because it's very strong. On a Magic Shield, you get to add a Bakugan from the field to your active Bakugan. And then on a Magic Shield and Green Fist, you get to steal an opposing active Bakugan's Bakugan and place it onto your own. So two very powerful effects, much better than the Widows. But yeah, so that's where a lot of the power comes in as far as the Nanogon go. I'm really excited to get off some combos there very easily. Just thinking right off the top of my head, you use the Magic Shield, you can add up anything for damage. Use the Magic Shield to grab the Orange Shield to go into that. Use the Magic Shield to grab a Green Shield, a Green Fist to go into this one. Just potential combos that are there. Maybe not as great as my reroll deck. I haven't really looked through any combos that the deck might have, unfortunately. But if you all saw any, or you have anything that you looked at in the video, please let me know in the comments down below if you saw any cool interactions that I might have missed. That does it for this deck profile, though. I hope you all enjoyed it. I have a lot of content I am recording, so please expect next week to be like crammed full. Make sure you hit that notification bell because I don't want any of my subscribers missing anything. There is a lot coming. As you all know, my raffle giveaway announcements are always on the 6th, so I am planning that one. As well as I have the poll for what the prize will be. Make sure you vote in that as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to go over with everyone. I don't think there is, but as always, I invite you all to join my Discord server because that is where you get the solid news, the solid information. I keep everyone up to date on there. So that link will be in the description down below if you're all interested. If not, hey, that's cool. The least you could do is like this video, though, to show your support. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, because only a measly 25% of you watching are subscribed. And that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, that is amazing. But you know what that means. If only 25% of you watching are subscribed, that means 75% of my viewers aren't. And I want to change that. So please, let me know what I need to do to change that. Because I want you to subscribe, because I want my subscribers to tick up. That is the goal. Monetization, being a big Bakugan influencer, and I can't do it without all of you. I need your help. Please, I am begging. I am Baku begging. But enough of that. Thank you all for your support so much. Thank you all for watching. Please stay safe no matter where you're at in the world. Drum up, and remember, Bakugan Brawl.